Hey everyone, welcome back. I know it's been quite a while since I last uploaded a video. I've been really busy with work and there are other activities that required my attention, so I haven't really gotten back to making videos. But I do remember that I owed you an explanation on damage reduction and penetration, so here we are. Before we proceed, just my usual disclaimers. I am not a professional programmer or developer. I don't know anyone, or I'm not affiliated with anyone who works in XD, Gravity, or Ragnarok. And everything that we'll be talking about today will be solely based on my understanding of the in-game codes and my actual gaming experience. So take everything with a grain of salt. I mean, a handful of salt, if you may. But yeah, so before we proceed, just as usual, thanks to Team Leaks for translating all of the new stuff coming from the China server, as well as giving us access to information before it actually comes out on the servers. So really appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing and keep it up. Okay, let's dive in there now. So really when it comes to damage reduction, it's impossible to talk about it without having to talk about penetration, because they're actually two sides of the same coin. And I'm gonna explain it later. Also, one caveat is this will be part one of a two-part series because I will not be discussing the PvP aspect of it. So this is damage reduction and penetration without PvP. There is PvP adjustment, and as usual, if there's a certain area in the code that I'd say I'm not 100% sure what it means, I usually resort to actual testing. So for the PvP aspect, I'm still looking for a test candidate, and I'm still trying to find time to be able to do that. But yeah, let's go now. So things on the agenda, just so we don't go over time. Again, target is about 30 minutes or so. So first we want to define what damage reduction penetration is. You want to look at the components, you want to look at the resources and how it's computed. We also do want to look at the floor and ceiling values. So these are more of the cap of these values. And then of course the in-game application, like how much should I get, or how does it actually work? And then of course the $1,000,000 question, which is better? Is it damage increase or is it penetration? So we're gonna go through that, and I'll try to cite as many examples as I can just to make sure that everything is clear. Okay, so with the definition, so damage reduction actually, or magic damage reduction, so it's actually both. So when I talk about damage reduction here, it's actually both for physical and magic. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not the same thing. It's just that, there's very minimal differences between those two. So I'll just club them in one video. So whenever there are differences, I'll just call them out in the video. So it's a function that multiplies the result of attack final after defense reduction. So as you can see here, this is attack final. So if you don't know what attack final is, we have a prior lesson on that, and I really recommend you to go back to our prior lessons and then just quickly watch it so you can better follow this discussion. So this one, don't mind this particular formula. This is from Dragon Breath. So after attack final, gets multiplied by defense reduction, which we talked about in a past video, and then it gets multiplied by 1 minus DAMREDUC 2. So DAMREDUC 2 is a function where damage reduction and penetration is embedded. So for us to be able to understand it, we need to go inside this function. So it's made up of the following components. So damage reduction in itself, which is DAMREDUC, penetration, which the game usually, or within the game in the formula, it's actually named as DAMSPIKE. Special damage reduction from skills. Now in the game it's called skill DAMREDUC. Now don't be confused. This is not the same skill damage reduction you guys are thinking about. If you're thinking about Dragon Noodle, this is not it. That's a different thing. And then of course there's PvP adjustments. There is a PvP upper and lower limits, and there is some bonus reductions in PvP. So that's basically the definition and the components. Now this is the actual formula for DAMREDUC. So if you see here, this particular function that it uses in local A is actually this one. So as you can see, it calls all of the variables I talked about, and I'm just going to go through this one by one. So penetration, as you can see, is here, right? So this is actually the formula. So it's 1 minus, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.009 multiplied by reduced level plus penetration minus damage reduction, close parentheses, multiplied by skill DAMREDUC. I'm going to explain each and every one of these in a bit. And then you have damage reduction, which is your usual tenacity or damage reduction from the enchantments, and the other stuff you've been getting on other gears. So this is what you see. Actually, this damage reduction, you should be able to see this in your character screen, in your character window. Let me just go there real quick. Let us try to show which one of these is actually damage reduction. So I'm sorry it's loading. I should have preloaded this, but it crashed while I was trying to start recording. So here, this is damage reduction. So if you go back to our formula, this is exactly it. Now, if you go for, penetration, this is that part. Okay, so I hope it's clear. As of now, I'm gonna move on to the other components of DAMREDUC, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. Okay, so next is the hidden penetration or the hidden refined bonus. Now this was a little bit controversial in the past because there's no reference to it. I don't even remember the developers actually putting it in the patch notes. I may have overlooked it, but there hasn't been really a lot of publicity on this. So yeah, so this portion here, 0.009 multiplied by reduced level, is basically the hidden refined bonus. We're going to talk about that later, but if you watch our refined video, that one has been discussed in there. And then you have your special damage reduction. Now, I don't want to call it skill damage reduction because the game description doesn't really refer to it as skill damage reduction. The variable used here says skill DAMREDUC, but you know the in-game text doesn't talk about it, and then there's another attribute for skill damage reduction. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna refer to it as special damage reduction, just to be clear and easy. And then you have PvP adjustment. PvP adjustment, again, as I said, would be discussed in the part 2 of this video, but that's basically some of the adjustments that's gonna take place once you're inside the PvP map and you're attacking someone other than the Imperium. And then at the last part, this is the ceiling value. So it means that whatever the result here can't go beyond 0.9 or 90%. Now, a lot of people have been asking, what's the cap? What's the cap for damage reduction? And there have been some info circulating that it's 90%. Well, that's not true. Damage reduction can go as high as you want. Magic damage reduction as well. It's actually the result of this function that has a limit, which means that if your enemy has 0 penetration, you probably shouldn't get anything higher than 90% damage reduction if your enemy has 0 penetration, because if they have 0 penetration, it means the overall result of A will be 0.9. You add anything in damage reduction beyond that, it's not going to be, or the game will just simply ignore it, because as you can see here, if the value of A is greater than or equals to 0.9, then the value of A will be 0.9. Okay, now let's talk about the sources. There are a lot of sources. To be honest, I may have missed out a lot of things here, but in general, damage reduction or magic damage reduction, you can get them from gears, from cards, from S-ears, from skills, from advanced runes, and from other sources. I mean, there's a whole lot of sources where you can get this from. Penetration, same thing. You can get them from gears, from cards, enchantments. Sorry, I didn't put it in here. S-ears, skills, advanced runes, and there all the other sources out there. The special damage reduction actually is more on a variety of stuff. So it depends. I mean, there's really no way for you to tell that it gives special damage reduction just by simply looking at the skill description. But you know, when we look at the code, we should be able to tell it apart. And then you have your hidden penetration or the refine bonus, which you get from your weapon or accessory refine. So it's at +5, +10, and +15. Doesn't mean you have to be exactly at these refine levels, right? I mean, if you have +6, you'll have the bonus for a +5. You have +12, you have the bonus for a +10. You have +15, obviously you're gonna get the bonus for +15. And you know, that's all gonna be summed up, and I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. So for special damage reduction, these are some of the skills that I was able to take note of that does have these special damage reductions. So I don't know if you know all of these icons, but like the one from Ninja Misty, right? So it's here, Energy Coat, Heart of Steel, and I think this one is Vanish from Phantom Dancers. And then you have your waffles from GVG. The waffles from GVG, as you notice, whenever you use it, it doesn't really change the value of your damage reduction in the game, but you can visibly tell. I mean, you just can tell that you're a lot tougher once you use it. So yeah, this is basically where it goes to. Again, for the hidden refine bonus, please go to our refine 101 video where we discussed it in detail. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the special damage reduction, because this is an area that a lot of people are still asking about, you know, especially those who fought mages, right? I mean, like AMs, because what they've noticed is once they use Energy Coat, they just become so tanky for a short period of time, and we're gonna look at it. So these things go into a function called skill DAMREDUC. Now what this does is it collects all of the various skill DAMREDUC that's given by all the other skills and the GVG waffles. You have your energy DAMREDUC, which is basically the energy coat, steel DAMREDUC, which is Heart of Steel, or I mean, so when I say it's Heart of Steel, it's just one of the examples here. There could be other skills, there could be other things that's coded in the same way. So let's say, for example, you have one skill that gives steel DAMREDUC, and then you use Heart of Steel, right, which gives the same. So they're just going to be collected and added in this value, right, and then afterwards it's going to get multiplied. So you have Protect DAMREDUC, Hide DAMREDUC, all of these things, and Dragon DAMREDUC is where your guild waffles go. So basically what you're going to do is you're just going to get all of those values, you subtract it from 1, and then you multiply all of this. And then the value of skill DAMREDUC cannot go lower than 0.1. So hold your thought on that one. Just try to keep that in mind first. We're going to go through the integration of this into the DAMREDUC function. So as you can see here, this particular formula here, at the very end, there is skill DAMREDUC. Now, we're going to have to use PEMDAS again, or the right order of operations in mathematics, to be able to compute this. So basically, if I write it down here, first thing I have to do is I have to clear out the parentheses. And within the parentheses, I have to first multiply. So which is this, right? So you multiply this, right? And then afterwards you divide. Well, there's no division here. And then you add, and then you subtract. So basically you get your refined bonus. You add penetration to it, and that's the reason why we call it hidden penetration, because it functions the exact same way as penetration. So you add that, right? You add it to 1, and then you subtract your damage reduction. And then once you're done there, you're going to have to multiply the result of this section with the skill DAMREDUC. Now, as you can see, the way it works is, you know, the lower the value here, the lower this value will become, right? And then eventually, the lower this value, the less you have to subtract from 1. And if you have to subtract very little from 1, then A will be at a higher value. And then if you go back to the actual formula in the damage, sorry, let me go back there. If you go back here, it's 1 minus DAMREDUC. So if you have 0.9 here, then what's going to happen is the damage will be multiplied by 0.1. Sorry, I'm not sure if I said that correctly. So basically, if the result of A is 0.9, then this section becomes 1 minus 0.9, which is 0.1. Then your damage will be multiplied to 0.1, which is just 10% of what you would have done if this section wasn't there. Okay, so I hope that one's clear. It's a little bit tricky, but the gist of this section is that skill DAMREDUC does make you a lot tankier, especially if it's energy coat, because energy coat is 0.7. So again, yeah, follow your guild leaders. Always do get your waffles, and when they tell you to use the waffles, just make sure you pop them before entering the portals. Again, just a reminder, this is not the same as a skill damage reduction, which you get from Dragon Noodles, because that one is something else. And let me show that to you real quick. So, this one is different. This is skill damage reduction. What we talked about there earlier is actually this. It is this part. So in Misty Shroud state, magic damage reduction becomes plus 8.2%. Now, I don't know if you've tested, but if you try to go into Misty, then it will not add anything. And a lot of people have been wondering, is it working? Is it not working? Why is it not adding anything to my magic damage reduction? Now I'm just going to demo it real quick just to show you how it works. So if I go here, So if I go here, as you can see, my magic damage reduction is 106.5%. Now, if I use Misty, it should actually add 8% if it was also magic damage reduction. But as you can see in here, it remained the same. Yet, when I'm playing in PvP, I can visibly tell that I'm getting less damage whenever I'm in Misty status. That's because Misty goes into the special damage reduction, which we just talked about. Okay, now I hope that one's clear. Sorry for blabbering there. Now let's go to the hidden pen or refined bonus. Now, although I said this is actually in the Refine 101 video, I'm just gonna breeze through this real quick. So this section actually collects the refine from your accessories. This one is for the weapon, and then as you can see here, it gets added all in all. So what you get out of that is that if your weapon or accessory is at +5, you basically have 0.9% of pen or M pen. So if all of my accessories, so both accessories and my weapon, is just at +5, that's a total of 2.7%. plus 10, you get 1.8. At plus 15, you get 3.6. So all in all, if your 2 accessories plus your weapon is at plus 15, then you basically get 3.6 multiplied by 3. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the ceiling value of DAMREDUC. Ceiling value is 0.9, like what I've said. So whatever the result of this section is, including the PvP adjustment, which I'm not going to talk about, so whatever the result of this section, it can't go higher than 0.9. In my case, okay, sorry, this is magic, so that was, let me go there real quick. So one thing to note is that for magic damage reduction, the ceiling value is 0.8. Okay, it's about 10% lower than on your physical aspect. Also, the magic damage reduction aspect does not have PvP reduce. As you can see here, there's PvP reduce. For magic damage, there is no PvP reduce. There is still PvP adjustment. You see this whole section here, but this variable, which is usually 20%, is not included in magic damage reduction. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. So, in my case, let's go there real quick. So in my case here, guys, I have about 106% magic damage reduction. If my enemy, okay, not talking about PvP adjustment, but if my enemy has 0% penetration, then I just wasted 26.5%. I could have put it somewhere else because everything above 80% basically has no value. It doesn't work. That's if my enemy has 0 magic penetration. Of course, with PvP adjustments in place, it could vary a little bit, but that's generally how it works. Okay, so in here, this is just a small demonstration of how it's computed, right? So once you get the value of A, you put it in here as I've shown earlier, and then that's what gets subtracted from 1, and then after multiplying your attack final to def reduction, that's, you know, when it gets multiplied to the result of this particular parentheses. Now, talking about the $1 million question, which is better, penetration or damage increase? Now, just talking purely by how many raw sources it multiplies or affects, the winner would be damage increase. Okay, hold your horses. I know there will be a lot of people who have violent reactions and say, no, why is it that my damage is higher whenever I'm adding penetration? You know, I'm adding 5% penetration, comparing it with 5% damage increase. Penetration seems to always be the winner. Why is that? So now you're telling me damage increase is technically better. So, like what I said, if just simply going by the number of raw sources it multiplies, damage increase is better. Because damage increase multiplies refine attack. Penetration, which is part of damage reduction, does not affect refine attack. It's visible if you go back to the formula here, where damage reduction is here. So basically attack final gets multiplied by it, and then right after it, refine gets added. Now, if you listen to your math teachers during high school, it simply means that this value here is not affected by all of the multiplications that happened on the left side. So yeah, that's my reason why I say that damage increase is technically better. Okay, but I know the actual application, right, doesn't always translate that way. And I'm going to explain why, right? While damage increase is superior, right, well, it's a superior multiplier, since it multiplies refine attack, you'll mostly see that adding penetration actually yields better results. So why is that? And I want you to look at this. I want you to look at this formula and then just maybe pause this a bit and then just try thinking about why. I mean, I know it's written here, but stupid of me. I should have hidden that portion, but maybe just try to think about why. If you go back to our prior videos, I think what I did explain there is that the best, in order for you to get the best results is to spread out your multipliers. So basically get positive multiplications, get multiplications greater than 1, right, in as many areas as you can. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, so maybe in this section, right, of course there's going to be greater than 1. Damage increase, it's probably most of the time going to be greater than 1. Def reduc will always be less than 1. That's why, less than 1, yeah. That's why ignore def has such a big impact. And of course, damage reduction, with the formula we've been through just a while ago, is in most cases, unless your penetration is already overpowered your enemy's damage reduction and PvP adjustment, it's in most cases less than 1. So what I'm trying to say here is that for damage increase, as you can see, the only thing that could bring this particular parentheses to less than 1 is long-range DAMREDUC, which not everyone has a lot of sources on, right? You can get Duff Garment, I think you can get from the smaller nodes in the advanced runes, but the fact remains there's very limited sources and a lot of people are not really putting anything in it. So that's why in most cases, right, this parentheses is always greater or equals to 1. That's why from a percent to percent comparison, when you put something in damage reduction, which is in most cases less than 1, you get to see better results. Because again, you're comparing adjusted values versus adjusted values. However, just think about it. If, let's just say, for example, you have 0 refine, okay, because you wanna get that out of the way. You have 0 refine, and let's just say, for example, the result of this section for damage increase and the result of the DAMREDUC formula is both at 1, right? If you add 1% on either of those, you'd actually see the same result. Okay, if their starting values are at the same. Now, once you start adding refine, you'd gradually see damage increase winning on a per percent basis. That's because it also multiplies the refine attack that you've got. But that doesn't happen all the time, and you really can't plan for just a single opponent in your build, right? It wouldn't be really efficient. So overall, my recommendation is it depends. So try to get a feel on how much damage reduction your enemy has in order to gauge how much penetration you need before you start investing into damage increase. In general, you would want to spread out all of your multipliers, because if you multiply a number multiple times, you tend to get better results than just multiplying it once. It's common sense, right? But yeah, in general, you would see pen or penetration giving you better results, but from a mathematical point of view, if you're looking at the formula, damage increase is actually better. It's only better, penetration is only better because the circumstances were in favor of penetration. So I hope this is clear. I hope all of you guys have learned something new, and I hope you guys are now able to properly plan your build, how much damage reduction you need, how much penetration you need, and when you actually need to shift over to some other multipliers. So if you do have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to be honest, I've been really behind at looking at the comment section. I think there's about a dozen comments I haven't responded to yet. I'm doing my best. Doing my best to respond to them. And if you really want to get a hold of me, just ping me over to Discord and I'll try to respond to you as soon as I can. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's still within 30 minutes if I stop in the next 30 seconds, so I'm not going to talk any longer. And I'm just going to wish you a pleasant evening, and thanks everyone for watching. You have a nice day.